How you doing, man?
What's going on, Chief?
Good. Only need
Close, man. I ain't know you was this close.
Welcome back to the next episode of Wide Open. I am your host, Tony Gonzalez. Welcome. Today, I am sitting with a legend, somebody that I looked up to when I was coming up. You're not too much older than me, but I did look up to you. I remember in high school, two-sport phenom, pro baseball, Hall of Fame football player, Deion Sanders.
I felt really old when you introduced me to him.
You're not that much older than
Somebody I looked up to.
Well,
Yeah.
you got a lot of people looking up to you.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. But before we get into anything, what's been going on with what you been up to?
Man, I'm a high school football coach, man. That's what I am. One of my sons just called. He's at South Carolina. His brother get redshirted. We played last night. We kicked some butt, my youngest son. So that's what I do on a daily basis, man. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah, coaching, huh? Yeah,
Love
stuff.
it. I mean, love it.
I can't. Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. Anything else business-wise? Anything going on right now with you?
Yeah, I'm into a whole lot of stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, you always keep it busy. I'm not surprised. But I guess before we get into any of the good stuff, I always like to start with the backstory. And this is good for me because I know you. We've worked together before. But this is, I don't know if you understand what this show is all about, but it's called Wide Open because I want to see what it is, what makes you tick. And like I said, growing up, looking at you, admiring you, obviously playing in the NFL at the same time as you, I've always been in awe. And I think a lot of us are because of your personality, the neon, Deion, the prime time, all that stuff. And so I always like to start with a little bit of a backstory, where you come from. I know you're from Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, Florida.
What was that like growing up in Fort Myers? What was your environment like?
Single mother, but my father was in the neighborhood. Stepfather came in and held it down. Good man. Both my fathers are deceased. A lot of the reason I am who I am today is because of my fathers. A lot of people take the negativity and turn it into positivity or vice versa, or they follow in the footsteps. I had a father, one was an alcoholic. Good drunk, though. He wasn't abusive. He wasn't ignorant, a tyrant. He would drink, get into bed, go to sleep. So I say he was a good drunk. I had my other biological father was a drug addict. He used drugs heavily until the end. He used drugs. So I could comfortably sit here and say I've never dabbled in either or.
Really?
Because of what I saw, the effect that it had on them.
You never drank at all?
I've never tasted alcohol in my life. I've never been high a day of my life. Now, the several surgeries I've had from the NFL, I absolutely enjoyed going under in every last one of them.
Yeah, a little more.
When you go under, I love it. I don't know what that says about me, but I look forward to it. You know?
The little morphine drill.
I do the countdown and everything. Then I always ask the nurse, what number did I finish on? Like 10, 9, 8. You was at 9, Mr. Sanders.
Yeah.
You have no tolerance.
So growing up in that environment, was it chaotic? I mean, I guess
No.
where did sports come into your life?
Sports was my escape. Sports was the neighborhood occupation. We played sports to pass time. So I started playing ball at 6 or 7. First of all, you play ball in the street. You played ball against the bus stops. That's your bus stop against my bus stop. That's how we did it back at the crib. Then you got into the sports. So I probably played baseball, I think at 5 or 6. That was my first sport. Then I got into football and I always played basketball as well.
So those 3 sports, it was football, baseball, basketball, nothing else? You ever, no skateboarding?
No, the skateboard hadn't hit then. We kicked rocks. That was probably what we did to pass time, but nothing else. Those were the top 3. That's all we did. That's all the sports that got respect from where I was from.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, I was in ROTC as a freshman.
Really?
Yeah, I was in ROTC because I had this infatuation with wanting to be Colonel Sanders.
Colonel, the chicken, Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, so I was in ROTC, and I think I only made it up to a corporal. Yeah, but I wasn't good at receiving orders from someone that I was just in PE with. 2 periods ago. Yeah, that was tough for me.
Tell me, Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, Colonel Sanders.
So with baseball, though, you said that was your first sport. I heard, or I actually read that you had like a little baseball hustle when you were younger.
Yeah,
what
man.
was that about? Young businessman, huh?
Yeah. Honestly, see, when I was young, man, I used to grab the lawnmower and go cut yards, cut grass. Not going to do it. Can I cut your grass for $10? So I was always had an entrepreneurial type of attitude. But the spring training site of the Kansas City Royals was probably 10 minutes from my house. I mean, it was darn near in the city where they had this park. It was Terry Park. I used to skip school, take my bicycle, chain it up somewhere, and outrun everyone to get the home run balls. Mm-hmm. And I put them in a sock. Then when the game consumed, I sold my balls to this person, this old lady, that old gentleman that wanted to come to see spring training in Florida. And that was my hustle, man. Mm-hmm. So that's how I kind of got started. And lo and behold, I was drafted by the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah. Where did that come from, though? That entrepreneurial spirit, that hustler mentality.
It wasn't in my family. It was not in my family. I have no idea. That's a great question, Tony. No one's ever asked me that. I have no idea where it came from. But I was never afraid to work. Now, that came from my mother. That came from me watching my stepfather. Day in and day out, put on his Wicks lumber uniform and go to work, and my mama working 2 jobs so ends saw one another because they never met. So I always had that attitude. So I wasn't afraid to work.
And so it sounds like my mother is probably my biggest influence in my life.
True.
Like she's the work, we were on welfare. She's the rock solid person. Was your mom like that too? Was she
she's the foundation of our family. She's the one who handles everything. If someone was to pass away, she's the one who always handled the funerals. She was the go-getter in the family.
Now, I read somewhere too that you made her a promise.
Yeah.
What was that promise?
Yeah, most people say they made a promise that I'm going to go back and graduate. No, I made my mama promise that she was never going to have to work another day in her life. And so I've always stayed focused to maintain that. A lot of people have accomplished that. Then at the conclusion of their career, things went south. No, I made a promise to my mama she would never have that, and I meant the word never.
And she still has that.
Still.
What job did she have?
She was a custodian. So I've gotten in, it's so funny, man, since we wide open, I'm going to be wide open. I've gotten in arguments with a female or 2 in a hotel room, and someone would discard their towel and throw it up under the counters. You know how simplistic that sounds? You're in a hotel room, they're supposed to come clean up your towels. But why would you have to throw it up under the counter where somebody literally have to get on their knees and go get that? And I always felt like, man, that's somebody's mama. Got to do that. That probably would have been my mama because she was a custodian. So I've always been a cleanly type person where I've always cleaned up after myself because I knew my mama was doing that. And I never wanted to put a burden on someone because I didn't want my mama doing that. But that was her occupation in the hospital at Lee Memorial Hospital in Fort Myers.
She sounds like, what was the best advice your mother ever gave to you?
It started with the N-word and it ended with quit. I was playing Little League Baseball, man. I was getting our butts kicked. We had this little draft, and I was the best player in the draft, so I got drafted to the worst team. And we lose every game. I threw a no-hitter and lost, man. That's when you know you bad. How can you lose if somebody throws a no-hitter? Because somebody made an error.
Yeah.
They hit the ball. It went straight through somebody's legs. It went straight through the outfielder's legs and the outfield as well. And it was an error. So it wasn't a base hit, but you lose and you do a no-hitter. But I came home complaining, man, I'm so sick of this. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of this. I can't believe these kids. She said, quit. I said, I ain't going to quit. Well, shut up about it then. And I had to make a decision. Either you going to quit or you going to do something about it.
You've carried that with you ever since?
Yeah. Because what that made me do, Tony, was build. That made me build my teammates.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I complaining, man? I got to do something about it.
Mm.
So if I got a problem with the shortstop, let me not only the coach is going to work with him, I'm going to work with him because I know what I need. So now I got to look ahead and say, okay, if I'm the pitcher and I know I got a hole over here, let me go pitch this guy outside if he's right-handed batter so he can hit it over here where that kid can feel. So I had to always be forward thinking when I played.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I love it. So you get to high school, you go to college, go to Florida State, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get drafted in both sports.
Yeah.
You're playing pro football and pro basketball now.
Baseball.
Baseball. That was my
That
dream.
was you.
I'm sorry.
That
was my dream. And like I said, that is one of the things that I looked up. It was you and Bo Jackson. Doing it was right at the same time too. Weren't you guys both doing it at the same time?
Bo paved the way.
And I remember watching you guys and saying, I want to do that. Except my other sport was basketball. So thank you for that. But having been somebody who's been there, I mean, I can't even imagine that. How are you able to keep the focus, your body? Like, how are you able to balance that?
First, it was normalcy. So it wasn't a balance because what's abnormal for you may be normal for me. It's like how you do basketball, man, that plays, I can't do. That's unbelievable because you really got some athletes. So that's why I'm thinking. But for you, it's normalcy. Like for me, it was normalcy. Normalcy was for me to play 2 sports and 3 sports. Now, just because I've reached the collegiate level and you got some fool up there telling me what I can't do, I should adhere to that. And just because he can't do it, no, man, that's normal to me, playing 2 sports. So having focus has never been a problem of mine. And I've always had the gift of compartmentalizing things. So I could be dealing with football and not even thinking about baseball. Or I could think about baseball and not even fathom football. I know how to compartmentalize everything in my life.
How do you do that though? Like,
man, it's so funny that I've always done that.
Yeah. Do you have a technique for that, or like
I've always done it. Like I had to really do some homework on me and really break myself down. Like I said, okay, you don't even mix food when you eat. Like most people eat black eyed peas and rice and they mix them together. You eat the black eyed peas, then the rice. Most people eat that and they mix it together. You never mix stuff together. Even on a tray. You remember that lunchroom tray that we all got was in lunch? I love those trays because everything had a compartment. The little peas went in there, the little cornbread went there, and this went there, and then the little applesauce. Like, that's how my life has always been. I've always been able to put that right there, and they never touch one another unless I allow them to.
Do you do it one at a time, though? Or is it...
Yeah.
I know, not just the food.
Yeah.
Or do you even eat food like that? And you think that's like
I do it one at a time.
One at a time.
I don't dabble into this until I finish that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just built like that.
It just came out like that. And
Yeah.
That's just something
and
you've
then
always
I
done
normally don't drink
Yeah.
until I'm done eating. And that's a trip. You know, most people drink in betwixt the meeting. I usually don't do that.
Yeah.
I usually wait till I'm done.
Yeah. Funny, the idiosyncrasies that go into being great.
It's crazy, but you really have to step back outside yourself and really look at this stuff, man. And you start wondering, okay, why do I do this? And it's just who you are.
Yeah.
And it coincides with what you are and how you are.
You know, but I find sometimes, because I'm kind of similar to that as I'm thinking about it now. I do the same thing. I'm very focused, one thing at a time. If my wife is calling me or trying to talk to me while I'm on the phone, or if I'm watching TV, don't ask. I don't want to talk while we're watching TV. Like, I just want to focus.
Put the words on the screen. If you want me to answer you, put the words on the screen.
But it frustrates a lot of people, is where I'm going with this. And so I know that when you were doing both sports, I'm sure there was haters out there saying, "Why are you doing both sports?" I mean, did that ever come up? And
no, what? Honestly, well, from the media perspective,
from the media perspective, yeah.
Yes.
That's so. How did you deal with that? And were there was people saying, "Hey, that's kind of selfish."
About it, I didn't care. Because I knew my purpose, and I knew this or that sport or that game was my passion. So my purpose is always tied to my passion. Whatever I'm passionate about, I'm going to have purpose for it. And I'm going to be able to dominate if I have those two intangibles aligned. So everything on the outside, man, I truly didn't give a darn. I really didn't care.
How do you do that? I'm fascinated
going back to
by that.
compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
I can have someone booing and telling me, you suck, you ain't this, you ain't that right now, and I don't even see him. I don't even hear him.
You don't hear him.
It don't matter because I know who I am. I've always understood who I was, Tony, and I always understood what I had and the gifts that was bestowed. So I didn't give the media opportunity, and that's one reason, really, the media was upset with me back in the day. I never drank, never smoked, never done nothing stupid. Why? Got along with my teammates. Why you at me? It's because I told them I was great before they got the opportunity to tell me that. I told them, I'm this dude, man. You better catch a hold to it because I am him. Yeah. And I ain't going nowhere for at least a decade. And my confidence offended their insecurity. Yeah.
Well, you see a lot of guys coming in with that attitude now. Whether it's, I don't care what sport, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be in business out there for the people listening.
True.
The confidence, is there a line between confidence and cockiness? What's the difference to you? What does that mean?
I don't know if there's a line. I think the line is if that confidence isn't backed with success.
Okay.
It has to be a level of success, and you say, I get it. But if it's not success, now here comes the attacks. Because like, how you acting like that? You ain't done nothing. You know, you don't have the audacity. It comes with the level of success attained as well. And then others can stomach it, but they can stomach it if not.
So I want to go back to this because I really believe this is probably what's stopping a lot of people from breaking out. And I know it was stopping me for a long time, was for the first couple of years in the league for me, was that really blocking out the noise, blocking out the critics. Like I really cared what they thought. And so I want to go back, if you could speak directly to how do you not care, I guess. And I know you kind of explained it already, but I just want to make sure, because you've achieved so much success and you're neon Deion, you're prime time. And how do you avoid not listening?
I'm going to try to put some depth to this so you really understand this. When I grew up and I played ball in Fort Myers, wasn't nobody there. My mama was working. My stepfather was probably drunk. My biological father came every now and then, but wasn't nobody there. So when I looked in the stands, I wasn't performing for nobody but me and my teammates. So I wasn't playing for the claps of nobody. When I went to college, my mama came. She drove all the way down there. She made it. Was balling out. But I was going to do it whether she was there or not because it had already been conditioned. When I played basketball in high school, I was all state, all that. Wasn't nobody there. And when I played baseball, I promise you it wasn't number about 10 people out there in the stands. And none of them came for me unless it was a scout. So I was conditioned to ball just because I balled. Wasn't for hand claps. I didn't get enamored, man. And Con and everybody could tell you. I went to the Hall of Fame. I ain't give a darn. Because I had already made it, dog. I had already held up my end to my mama. That was it. So I didn't need your validation of no gold jacket telling me I was that dude because I knew I was that dude. So I didn't need it. So it's probably the way I came up that I never needed validation from a teammate, from a coach, from anybody. I just wasn't built that way coming up because nobody was there.
And that drives a lot of people crazy where they're looking at that going, it can come off as like, okay, he doesn't appreciate this. But I think it's even more like it's just coming. It's not like a cockiness thing. It's just, hey, I don't need it. Don't get mad at me because my ego doesn't need it.
I don't need it.
Yeah.
I was happy as the accolades to Pro Bowls and all that, but I really didn't care. Because when you're a dog, you're your worst critic, man. So after you had 10 catches and a couple 100 yards, you look at the film and say, dang, I rounded that route right there.
Yeah.
Because that's just how we get down.
Yeah.
My greatest games, man, they'd threw it, they'd had that one. They could have got me on that. They could have got me on that. I got to clean that up for next week.
Yeah.
Some of my greatest games.
Yeah.
That was my critique of myself. Yeah.
No greater critique than you.
There you go.
You see, you're that rare, which I think everybody could get to that point where it's like you're self-critiquing. Like nobody's going to be harder on you than you, and you're going to be highly motivated to do what you want to do.
That's right.
So having said that, I talked about prime time and neon. Like, where did all that start to come in?
That came in if I was prime in high school, basketball, ironically, dropping about 36 that night. You know, it's so funny when I look off, I could see it. My memory is like photographic memory. I could see it. You know, dropping about 36 that night. Had a couple dunks back to back, and on the bus on the way home, my homie like, "Hey man, you know what, dog? You prime time." I say, "Yeah, yeah." And that's where prime was born in high school. You know, dropping 36 on the road against this school called Lely, I believe. So, and then I was getting ready to go to Florida State, and I had that on my front license plate when I went to school. And now you got to live up to it. Yeah. You got to live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes back to what I'm saying, the high step in the neon Deion.
But it was, a lot of it was premeditated though, Tony. A lot of it was like, hey man, they ain't paying no corners, dog. I made a promise to my mama, man. This right here, I ain't getting ready to retire nobody. What corners and DBs was making. I mean, we were one of the lowest paid positions. And I created this whole persona. Yeah. You know, the flashiness, flamboyance, the quick wit. It was sort of me. It's like a comedian, and he's saying things that he really wanted to say, but he really don't mean it. You know, like it's a lot of truth to a joke. Yeah. It was a lot of truth to the image, but it was a joke. Because I had to build something to market myself, and I did it at an early age. I wasn't even a marketing major, man, and I marketed the heck out of myself coming out of college, man.
So a lot of that, you would go home and say, okay, I'm gonna hit him with this two-step.
No, I would go home, I had a little black book, and I wrote him a black book. Most people was keeping a girl's phone numbers. I had quotes, man. So I would write him a black book. I'm the best thing since peanut butter and jelly. If you punt that ball to me, you might as well get ready to hear the band play. If you throw the ball, make sure you get ready to make the tackle. Your offense is gonna have more tackles than your defense if you keep playing with me. It'd be quotes like that. Because I know I was gonna ball out. Yeah. So then after the game, after I balled out, well, what do you think about your punt return? You kicking to me, baby. You gotta get ready to hear the band. It like it just flipped it right off my tongue. I had already wrote it out. Yeah. I love that. I had already did it. Yeah. I had already did it, man. So I'm saying, you know what? Whether they love me or hate me, they gonna pay to see me play. And I had no idea about branding. Like branding is the key word now for everybody. Yeah. Everybody want to brand. I ain't know about no darn branding. I knew I had to create something because I grew up with the Ali in the back of my mind. That was a hero, man. Oh, okay. Yeah, I grew up with Dr. J. You know, he's a professional. He was the doctor, man. He was classy, not flamboyant, just subdued, but real classy and well-dressed. You know, I grew up with Hank Aaron. He was focused, man, on the home run title. Although he endured all the racism and the racist comments, he was focused enough to attain his goal. And O.J. Simpson was the constant professional with his teammates. Not this O.J., you know, the O.J. we know. That we grew up with. He was that professional, man, that his teammates went the extra mile for him. So I grabbed all those gentlemen and incorporated them in myself, little attributes from them. And I created that image. But it's far detached. And you know that. It's funny, we joke all the time about traveling. You know, I'm a homebody, man. Yeah. No drink, no smoke. I don't club, man. You know, I'm a homebody.
Yeah.
Everybody would think, yeah. Don't stop, get it.
Yeah.
No, man. After we won the Super Bowl in San Francisco, when we beat San Diego, man, I was the first one out of the locker room, went straight to the room, got in the bed. Like, what's next? I know it. I don't feel it. I gotta go.
Which is crazy because obviously watching you and then the rap the rappers like MC Hammer and Snoop and
well,
Cube
I was always
and,
personable and I was always friendly with everybody. So those are my dudes. I loved them. I loved what they brought to the table, man. So that little part in me attracted a friendship that we still have today. And those are my guys, man.
Yeah.
But they'll all tell you, hey man, Prime ain't gonna hang out too late now. It's gonna be over in a minute.
Yeah. I know. I've seen that now. But I'm it's shocking because from the outside looking in, you see the jewelry, you see the suits back then, you see the haircuts, you see the song. I don't forget. I was telling my producers here about your little. Was that a rap song or you were singing?
Yeah.
I was like Bone Thugs and Harmony. You were a singing rapper. Must be the money is turning me out.
There you go.
Everybody out there, if you don't know that, you definitely got to go YouTube.
It was my hit.
It is. Hey, treat yourself. Go check out that video on YouTube. But seeing all that and you must be the money and the persona, you gotta. I was like, for sure, he's out there hitting them over the head after the games, having a good time, getting tables. I watched a lot of TV
as a kid, man. I sat in front of a TV a lot as a child. I watched a lot of TV.
Yeah.
So I would watch all those Elvis movies, man. I watched every black exploitation movie that ever was from across 110th Street. I'm Gonna Get You Suckers to the Pam Grier, everything she did. And I watched a lot of TV, man, and I emulated characters, man. And I always wanted to act. I mean, so I got to act on a daily basis. Well, really on Sundays. And, Sundays you had to play for real. But then you got to act in the press conference afterwards, man.
So watching all that and then having to be able to get to know you, like we did a couple Thursday night football shows together and we've done appearances together. And I see you, and would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Extro. Introvert naturally. Extrovert when I have to be.
And you're able to turn it on, right?
I got to switch, man.
Yeah.
And when I see that light, I can turn it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we do television now, when the red light's on, that means the millions of people are watching, and that's when you can all of a sudden just go from that.
I could go
kind of a quiet, reserved person to boom.
I could go from Deion Sanders to Prime, just like that.
Who is Pastor Omar?
Man, Pastor Omar probably is my best friend, man. That's my dude. That's my pastor. That's my guy. He's my truth teller. We keep it 100. We talk every day. I mean, about everything and anything, about something that's on my mind, and he'll give me the understanding of it.
What do you think about having someone like that in your life? Because I think that's
everything,
important.
Man. I think it's everything because we pride ourselves, especially when you make it to our level. You get up there on the stage and you say, man, if my coach hadn't been there for me, I don't know where I would be. I see all of us do that, and I did that. But what if we had a life coach, man? What if that life coach played just as important role as that football or that basketball or that baseball coach? How much better of a person we would be. And I have that guy, like a life spiritual coach, and I love it, man. Yeah, and it plays a major role in my life.
Yeah, and I felt that too. I have one or two people. You don't need more than one.
No, you don't.
You just somebody you can talk to,
right,
and bounce ideas. Somebody that's going to tell you no. I always say, a lot of these guys, girls, I don't care who it is. Once you achieve success, it's like you surround yourself with yes people. Nobody that's going to tell you the truth.
Right.
And that's the worst thing you can do. And we see it all the time. I don't care. It's business, athletics,
and it makes
music.
us mad when we see it because you know how it's going to end. And not just yes people, a multitude of people. When you see somebody with a multitude of people around them, you know it ain't going to be long. Ain't going to be long before the fall. Because there's no way, man. There's no way. No one's that strong to carry that many people for that long of a time. No one's that strong.
And when it came to your career, speaking of love, you played for 5 teams. As one of the greatest players of all time. Why was it such a bounce around?
Man, I always ask that question. I had to ask the Lord that question, man. It was like I was on a mission for the Lord, because there's no way. You can't be that great and you play for 5 darn teams. That means either you a jerk in the locker room, and I certainly wasn't that, or you're underappreciated. Yeah, so I would lean to that, because sometimes you could be at a certain level where people take what you do for granted. And see, that's good for people that's not even in the sports. You could perform at a certain level, doing what you do, because it's a gift and you do it naturally, that people would assume that someone else could do it because you effortlessly do it. And that's not the case, because this gift makes it look that way. It's no way I should have been from 5 teams, man. But you know what? I had to do what I had to do in Atlanta. They never even offered me a deal when I was a free agent. So they took me to San Fran. I just didn't feel it. San Fran won a Super Bowl, Defensive Player of the Year, never offered me a deal. How does that happen? So it's time to move on and go to Dallas. Had a wonderful time there. And here we go. At the conclusion, I think, of my 5th year, same thing, free agent, because they were on the down. And see, they're on the downward spiral. And when you have a gift and you still could maintain a certain level, you may not be you, but ain't nobody else could be that. You're not going to be appreciated if your team don't value or understand winning. Someone adapts a losing mentality. How can a winner have value with someone with a losing mentality? It ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work.
I also saw you think that you can't love something that doesn't love you back, that can't love you back. Is that what you said?
I never loved something. You are good. I never loved something that didn't have the ability to love me back.
What do you mean by that?
A lot of people are like, man, I love the game. The game, no. I like the game. The game can love me back. The game may never put his arms around me and embrace me and told me he loves me, but the game gave to me. So if that's my condition of love, I'm kind of messed up in the head, because just because someone gives to me, that don't mean it loves me. Yeah. And the game never loved me back, because sooner or later, you got to make a choice to walk away from the game, or the game gonna walk away from you. And thankfully, we were able to walk away from the game.
Yeah. So you've accumulated all this knowledge. You're on the NFL Network, and I see you have such good relationships around the league with younger guys now. How is that? Is that kind of your way of paying it forward?
You know what, man? It's my way of being me. Even when I played the game, when I was in those locker rooms, I got along with everybody, but I was more attracted to the younger guys. Because a guy named Bobby Butler, that was a cornerback, came out of Florida State, looked out for me, and I came to Atlanta to take his job. But instead of him being ignorant, he sat me down and said, this is the way this goes, little fella. And we are still friends to this day. So I've always felt obligation to teach these youngsters, reach them. And even if they're not even on my team, man, I've made calls. When I see somebody, man, I don't care if they balling or they messing up, I'll reach out to them and call them. Hey, man, this Prime, just want you to know, if you ever need me, I'm here. I don't need nothing from you. I don't want nothing from you. This ain't that call. I'm here for you. And that phone rings in a matter of time. Yeah, so I just like to look out for the youngsters, man, as well as the older players as well.
Yeah. So, you've been retired for what? 10?
Been retired for a minute. Yeah.
For a long time now. Yeah. Had a long career. How has it changed, though? Do you think, like, with social media and the millennials and
social
Generation
media
X, like, how's it changed?
Social media is shaping them. They're more aware of people and opinions. I think they're playing the game for social at times. We played because we wanted to be great. We had goals to be the best ever, of course, with the gold jacket that you obtained as well. But now some people play for followers, man, and likes, and they reading all comments. And I'm glad we didn't have that in our era, because that allowed us to focus a bit more. And some of the guys are a little bit unfocused.
So you're not really a big fan of the social media stuff? I mean,
I'm a
or
fan.
guys if they don't know how to control it?
I'm a fan of guys who are performing for the band. Yeah, I need you to go out there and play, man. I don't give a damn if the band is playing or not. You need to go do your thing. But sometimes they perform for the band. It's like when a guy's mic'd up, he's very vocal.
Yeah.
But you can't put no mic on a guy, put a mic on a running back that's getting ready to play up against Ray Lewis. Put a mic on a linebacker that's getting ready to cover you all game and see how vocal they are.
Yeah.
Put a mic on the receiver that got to see me for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to see that. But they want to be animated in certain situations, man.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes though, it's almost a situation, and this is not just with sports, it's everything, where you gotta brand yourself. You gotta make a name for yourself. And
yeah, but you make a name for yourself by being great.
Yeah.
You don't make a name for yourself by talking it.
Thank you.
You don't make a name for yourself by creating this team behind the scenes that they ain't got no work to do unless you ball. The brand don't work unless you ball. You got to ball first.
Yeah.
Then it works. But you got all these guys coming out of high school, coming out of college now. I own a brand. You're a lineman, dog. You're a lineman, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't understand that's where the money is.
That's where the money is.
If you keep football first. That's what I always told the young guys. Whatever platform you want, keep it football first.
That's why I feel bad. Like I love Odell. And we talked about him briefly early on. And I don't think he understood coming out of New York is a whole different game. Like, you could catch a ball in New York and catch the same ball as Cleveland. It's not the same catch. It's a whole different catch.
Yeah.
See, now you're getting to see that, because what's going to keep you at this level is bowling, not your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. As we move into wide open, I want to, my second year, I don't know if you knew this, but my second year, I dropped 16 balls, led the league in drop passes, got benched twice. I always tell people it's the best thing to ever happen to me. Throughout your career, is there any moment, was there a key moment for you that you were kind of at the rock bottom?
Baseball, never football.
What was that rock bottom
baseball
for you, where it changed everything for you?
Being sent down to the bushes in baseball, because baseball is an earn it type of game, man. That's why I loved it. See, I was always prime in football, but I was straight Deion in baseball, man. It was no time for nothing animated. It was focus and work. And I had to really do it because I was just an average baseball player trying to be good. And I can remember, man, just going over, and just not hitting worth a darn early on and say, you know what, I got to do something about this. This is stupid, man. You look like garbage. I was my worst critic. Man, I put batting cages in my yard, and I was just working my butt off, man, to just try to be good, not average. And I really had to come to Jesus meeting and look at myself and go get it and not live off football. It's easy to say, you know what, I forget that. I'm going to just play football. No, but that ain't what God blessed me with. He blessed me with the ability to play both. So do it. Don't run away from it. Do it.
And how did you get through that? And how long did it take?
Man, I had to bow down. I had to work because I had never put a lot of work into that sport.
Really?
It was just naturally. It was a gift. But at that level, you got to work, man. Those pitchers know what they're doing.
So what kind of work extra? Do you mean is it
hitting,
in terms of do you need to go out and just get more hours?
Get more hours, learning the game, keeping a book, calling a guy like Ricky Henderson, man, how you do this, man? Meeting with a Barry Bonds, how you do this?
Yeah.
Meeting with a Tony Gwynn, like after the game, hey, man, talk to me. I remember Jose Rio, man, dear friend. We ended up playing together with Cincinnati Reds. He pitched against us one night. I was playing for the Braves. And I saw him like in a tunnel after the game. He said, Brian, come here, man. He was just, big personality. Hey, man, you're so far away from the plate, man. I just outside paint you. Hook in the dirt. You chase. No, man, get up some. Said, thank you, man. He broke me off and told me how he broke me off, man.
That's cold-blooded. I love it. I love it.
But he was that kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he helped me, man, and I just went to work shortly thereafter.
So it's asking questions because people want to help you.
Yep.
And you said book. Get a book. What does that mean? Is that kind of more like the black book that you have?
No, it's sort of like in baseball, you got to be a student.
Okay.
Like, okay, you got to keep this up. You play 162 games, man. That's a lot to retain. So, okay, I got to remember David Cone starts me out fastball away. I got to remember, okay, if he go ahead 1-0 to count, now he's coming fastball in off the plate. He's just showing me that because he's going to hook me outside the next pitch. Now, if I'm ahead in the count, this is what he's going to do. I got to remember that kind of stuff. I got to remember this pitcher here when he turns his front toe in. Okay, he's going home. Front toe out, he's going, he's coming over to try to pick me off. Little stuff like that. I got to remember that stuff. And I got to remember he's 1-3 to the plate. The catcher just so I can steal anytime I want. I had to remember all that stuff and write a book and keep it on the bench. So, in between games, I'm looking at that stuff like, okay, this is the catcher. This is how they pitch at me. This is who's coming in from the pen. I had to really understand because I did that in football. But I didn't do it in baseball early on. I was just out there playing off ability.
Yeah. That's a takeaway right there. Anybody listening right now, write it down. And this is the stuff that I did when I played. I wrote it. You talked about writing notes to yourself. Wow. I used to write notes to myself. Like, they're starting to doubt you, Tony. You got to get better. Just little things to remind you. Because you can't think, you're not going to remember it all.
You're not going to remember it all.
I love that. Oh, I love
those little things, man.
Just the little things, right?
Yeah.
And that's life. That's everything. It's the little details that you can pick up on.
Took you over the top.
To put you over the top. It's like, honestly, I think that is the difference. Because when you see guys coming to the NFL now, and this is what I tell a lot of young guys too. I'm like, welcome to the world of no longer being special. You're not special. You run a 4.3. So does him. So does he.
Right.
Oh, you bench 500. Very good. So does he. Oh, you jump 45. So does he. Like, the only way you're going to separate yourself when you get to the professional ranks is by keeping details. And there's tricks to do that. And writing them down, I think, is a big one.
But you know what? You need those people in the locker room, man. I think that's where some teams miss it. You need one veteran at every segment in the locker room.
I love it. Daily affirmations, you have a text.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Man, I've been texting for, I think it's over 20 years now, man. Monday through Friday. I tell everybody I'm off on weekends. Monday through Friday, I text something daily. Let me see my phone. Let me see what my Friday text was.
Now, this is a daily text that people can sign up for from you?
No, I mean, they just, I don't even understand how it started. I know I've been doing it for a long time, and the way it goes now, if someone asks, I put them on, but then if they want somebody else, that's their responsibility to put somebody on their list. Okay. My like the first name is so funny, is AB. It's the first name on this, his group. That's his group. Tony O'Brien. Tony Brown. When the enemy reminds others of your yesterday, he's trying to sabotage your today and handicap your tomorrow. God is greater than all the mess, the stress, and the tests you're enduring. Don't stop moving forward. You win in the end. Truth. That was Friday.
Yeah.
It'd be little subtle things like that. Just whatever comes to my mind the first thing that morning, or something that I garnish reading the night before. But whatever feeling I have of everybody, I write it out and I text it. And hit send.
And that's for 20 years now.
It's
You've
been over
doing
20
this.
years, man, Monday through Friday. And the people know me enough now, they know when I'm on the West Coast. They know, okay, he must have a flight early because it'll come at like 5 a.m., or something's going on. I ain't get a text today. So that means, your phone breaks down a couple times a year. Yeah. So until you get that rebooted. So everybody knows, they kind of know how that flows now.
Yeah. Are you, you talk about God a lot. Are you a religious person?
Yeah.
Or do you pray? Do you meditate?
I don't call myself religious. I'm a Christian, man.
You're a Christian.
And I trust God with all my might. I live by faith.
So deeply spiritual. Do you pray? Do you meditate?
I pray.
Do you meditate?
I don't even know what the word meditating is. I pray.
Okay.
And
it's a form. I think that to me, that's a form of meditation.
Okay.
It's a quiet into the mind and communicating with something greater than yourself.
But see, God is my homie, man. So I have real conversations.
Okay.
You know, I could walk out this interview, I would say something like, Lord, that was a wonderful interview. Tony really had some great questions. Lord, take this as far as you want it to go. I want a lot of people to be blessed by our conversation and bless Tony, because what he's doing, I don't even think he understands that the wings that it has to soar and travel and permeate minds, spirits, bodies, and souls. So bless him, Lord, in Jesus' name. It'll be a conversation just like that. Because that's what's on my mind right now. That's why I spit it out like that. So that's real.
When the noise comes, what do you do for peace? Where do you go?
I got peace.
Where do you? Is there a place that you go? What's like a pastime that you do?
I fish, man.
That's what it is?
I'm a fisher.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a fisherman. I love the fish. I love the whole understanding of the serenity of the water, the structure of the lake and the surroundings, and just me and that fish. And I'm trying to capture that fish, man. Yeah.
Lake fishing or deep sea fishing?
I don't deep sea.
You don't go after the big game. You're not going after the big yellowtails or the
because you ain't doing them dropping the line and you don't even know what's going back. You just sit up there having a conversation. Hey, fish on. That ain't fishing, man. That's
not fishing. I love that fishing.
That's catching. You're in a deep conversation, and they say, hey, fish on, and you get to wind reel them in. I like presenting the lure, picking the lure, and understanding the weather and the climate and where they like to lay. Yeah, I'm a real bass fisherman, man. I like bass.
Okay. I like bass. I like lake fishing too. Don't get me wrong, all the lake fishermen out there and fisher women. But I do love being on the deep sea.
You like the big challenge. You like the challenge for the big boys.
Yeah, I like to go out. I like the sun. I want it really hot. I want a nice little Modelo in my hand.
See, I ain't going out that far, man. I ain't going out that far, first of all. I am not going out that far.
Let's shift a little bit to your family. You have 5 kids.
5 kids.
And shoot, you're probably a mentor to many other kids. I don't even. So balancing that, what does it mean for you to be a father?
It means everything to me, man. It means the world to me. It means the world to be accessible. For my kids could talk to me about any and everything. And I never want them to feel as though they couldn't come to me. I don't care if, Dad, I got somebody pregnant. I'm going to kill you, but before I kill you, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
No, I want my kids to be able to come to me with any and everything. I want that kind of relationship, and I feel like I have that kind of relationship, that we're open enough to talk. And there's a lot of respect. Like my kids say, sir. They don't.
You've demanded that of them since they were little kids.
Yeah.
You say sir to me.
Sir. And you say sir to everyone else and yes, ma'am to everyone else. I demand that. Like if my kids like say that, I say, excuse me, what'd you say? Yes, sir. They know I don't play that. And ain't no name. They're not going to call me by my name. It's Daddy.
Yeah.
Now, my last name has been Can I a lot. Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, can I? My last name ain't Can I, you know?
How do you keep them in check? When they mess up, what advice do you give to
was
parents?
established as a kid. That was established as when they were babies. And that check is still as a mate. It's a checkmate. They know Daddy does not play. So, and we've never established our closeness, our love, and I know them, man. I got 5 kids. If you explain the crime or what happened, someone spilled milk on the couch, I know which one did it because I know their personalities. You know? And I think parents should be open enough to understand the changing of the time and the climate in your children. And this is the trip that gets me about parenting. You got every parent's like, I love all my kids the same. You know what? That's a lie. I don't love all my kids the same. I got orders. And they know it. They got rankings. They know it. It's rankings in my house. They know it. I say, hey, here go my favorite son. And the other 2 will be sitting right there. And they'll just bust out laughing because they know. Then it'll be a bad week for them. Hey, new rankings. Here goes my favorite son.
It's like a stock market. Who's hot? Who's not? Got to sell that one. Okay.
Who's getting the least on the wheel if something happens to Daddy? Is you.
Oh, man. But you have sons too, right? You have
I got 3 sons.
3 sons.
The sons in the middle, the daughters are the bookends.
But all 5 of them athletes?
They think they are. No. My oldest daughter, she was early on, but she veered away. My oldest son, he was an athlete. He graduated from SMU, which wonderful. I love that. And then my South Carolina, right now Shiloh is, and Shador's the little quarterback phenom. And my daughter plays basketball and volleyball. She's 15.
How do you, in my Hall of Fame speech, I wrote a letter to my kids.
It was awesome too, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one thing that, for people out there, especially people that have parents that have done well, I believe there's pressure there, and especially as us, just because of our last names and our kids playing sports, especially if they play football. How do you talk to them about, or do you want them to measure up to you?
I don't want them to measure up to me. Our goal was, and our challenge was, even early on, I always told them before the game, I don't need you to be the best on the team, but I do need you to give me your best. I don't need you to be me. I need you to be the best you can be. And I've always emphasized that. Now, I have no expectation of them accomplishing some of the things that I've accomplished just because my athleticism was, is truly a gift from the Lord. They're very talented, but they benefit a lot because I'm there too, man. If I would have had that boxing coach, that track coach, that coach in my ear saying left, right, left, hit him with right, it's like a navigational system. They have me as a father navigational system through life. Don't take a left right there. Take a left, right, go down the street and take a right. I got to navigate them, man. But I have no expectation of them duplicating what I was able to accomplish, man. They got to live their own lives.
Yeah. And I love that. That's kind of what I've learned the hard way, especially with my oldest boy. But that's how it is. He's the firstborn. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to learn. But it's like really letting go of my expectations of them in a sense that, hey, you got to live your own life, and you got to, and I'll be here for you. It's like give them wings. You give them roots and give them wings.
I'm gonna love you even though. I'm gonna love you even though. Yeah, you may not be what I thought you was gonna be, but I'm gonna love you.
The final questions. Now, we talked a lot about the highs and the lows. What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid of? Not finishing what I start. Whatever I start, I want to finish, man. I got to put a period or exclamation mark at the end of everything I start. And I hate not finishing something that I start. That's probably the thing I'm most afraid of. There's some things I've started in life right now. I got to finish it.
What's the third sport you would have taken up? Well, you said basketball. Were you really that good at basketball?
I was nice, man. I averaged, everybody was the man in high school. And this was before the threes were implemented. I was 24.6 before the threes were implemented. So I always rounded up to, I probably would average 32 in high school. I had like 17 to 20 dunks. I kept track of my dunks. And I was all state in basketball. And I really wanted to play. They wouldn't not let me play in college because I ran a little track too on the side. So I played 3 sports already. But I think I would have loved to have given it a shot. My football coach, I found out years later in high school, I love him to life. One of the reasons I'm sitting here today, he had all my basketball letters. Did not want me to go down the street.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He told me I took them all.
I wonder if you would have. I
know I didn't have the height.
Yeah.
You ain't but one AI, man. Chris
I was just about to say AI. You could have been AI. You could have been AI.
AI was. I just saw AI, matter of fact, like half an hour ago.
Yeah. Allen Iverson, for people out there don't know what we're talking about. During these final questions, it's all, now I want to get to like biohack. Do you know what biohacking is? Do you know what that, like ways to improve intermittent fasting, the infrared sauna, sleeping. It's like little hacks to try to get better physically and mentally. It helps you. What do you eat? What's your?
I eat pretty good, man.
Your diet's pretty good?
My diet is pretty good. I may cheat one day a week for certain, but my diet is pretty good. I got a guy who played youth football for me years ago when he was 12 years old. All he wanted to do was be a cook, a chef. I would hire him and let him cook at parties and bake. And now he's my day-to-day chef. And he cooks for Zeke and several of the Cowboys as well. and he keeps me straight, man. So I eat pretty good. I'm not a fried food guy. I'm not once a week.
What's your thing when you said you cheat? If you had one last meal, what would it be?
Probably Popeyes, man.
Popeyes chicken?
Popeyes, spicy.
Anything in the world.
Red beans and rice and Cajun rice.
Once again, I asked this question to a lot of my guests, and they always say like something to fast food.
Yeah, man.
On earth,
they put it right down the street from the crib. They should have never done that, man. They put it right down the darn street. I got to pass by that to get home. And they be calling me, man. They be calling me. It's like I passed by, like, Brian, come on, man. Hey. I went through the drive-thru the other night. Man, they gave me 2 boxes of chicken because it was about time to close. I was like, man, why y'all do me like this, man?
As you eat it, why you do this to me?
Carved it.
Sleep-wise, do you
I don't sleep a lot. I don't sleep a lot.
You don't get
I'm a fall asleeper. I got to fall asleep. I just can't say, hey, man, I'm about to go to sleep. I got to fall asleep. Like at night. See, man, this is going to shock a lot of people. I get up, work out, go to school probably 2:15. We have meetings 2:45, high school. We go on the field 3:30, 4 o'clock, 3:30. I'm off the field, hour and a half. I'm home and showered, and I'm in the bed, man, by 6, dog.
In the bed by 6 o'clock?
In the bed. I'm in the bed, like in the bed. And no pajamas, just shorts on, t-shirt. I'm in the bed. You know, watching film or the practice, going over my game plan for this week. Then I'll go to the TV. Now I got to watch my shows on Netflix, which I enjoy. Some, and I got to finish some of those that I hadn't finished yet. Queen of the South is off the chain, by the way. Some of those things. And then I may fall asleep, man, by 8. But then I'll wake up 10:30. Then I'll be up to 2. Then I go back to sleep. I do it all over again. So I got to fall asleep. I just can't say, hey, man, I'm going to go to bed.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So my patterns are different.
That is different.
Yeah, it's different.
I've been really into sleep.
Yeah.
And that actually goes opposite of what's supposed to be.
Totally opposite.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a lot of ways to do health, to do spirituality, to do leveling up. True. I always say, hey, if it works for you, it works for you.
There you go.
My grandma is 101 years old, still alive and still got her brain, very smart. And a lot of the protocols about like health and wellness, she did not do.
Mine either.
Still, to this day.
97.
Yeah.
They eat everything.
Yeah, ate everything.
Everything. Still eating oxtails right now. And neck bones and all that. Yeah, still.
So I don't know. It's confusing. Okay, if you had one last dinner and you could invite 3 guests, who would you invite? Anybody, living or dead?
Living or dead.
Or passed on. I hate saying
that's a good one, man. Red Fox.
Red Fox.
Richard Pryor.
So you want to laugh. You want to have some fun.
Got to, man. That's who I am. Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King. To bring it back down to...
He's going to keep the harmony. Keep the harmony. He's going to cut up with us, but like those guys are my guys.
That's probably your personality too.
It's funny.
You just described your personality.
You know what, man? I never thought about that. That's probably right. That has a lot of truth to that.
Second to last question. What piece of advice do you wish you would have listened to?
I think I listened. I think I listened.
You listened?
I think I listened. Anytime somebody that I respected sat down and looked me in the eyes and said, don't take that left. Stay right. I listened.
Which is so key. That's what I feel like I've done too. Yeah. Just listen to people
just
that have gone there before you.
Because there's no ulterior motive. They just want to help you.
Yeah. But it's hard to do sometimes when you're in that habit.
There's a motive.
But
we don't listen because there's a motive. We trying to attain something that we shouldn't be. There's a motive, the reason we don't listen.
What's one area of your life that you'd like to improve in that you're wide open to learning more about?
I probably wish I would have done more business-wise when I was younger. And some of the people I shouldn't have trusted that I did because I was led with my heart at times instead of with my mind. Like, you know what? That's good. I want to make sure they're straight. I want to bless them. And it's a good deal as well. And no, it's a good deal. to get the heart. Is it a good deal? So that aspect of life in the business world. Because some things I want to do and I wish I would have done differently. Yeah. But I still got time.
Still got time.
Still got time.
I love it. Thanks for coming on the show. Man.
Awesome, man. This was good, man. This is good.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
I want to see that jump shot, though.
The jumper wet.
I didn't know you played basketball.
Yeah, it was wet. It was wet. I don't know if it's wet right now, but it was wet back then. Yeah.
Let me see you shoot. Come on.
You want to see the form, huh?
I want to see this. You said 32 points a game.
Oh, man. I want to see the form.
Let's play pig.
Pig, all right. Oh, no. The truth is coming. Okay, let's go. Pig. Let's go.
Here we go. What do you think, Meech?
Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see where he was. Where were you? Right here?
Yeah. Oh! Might be a quick game. Might be a quick game.
It might be quick. Oh, Lord. Lord. Oh, Lord. No! Oh, no, dog. You can't hit the first 3 shots on a friend. How you hit the first 3 shots on a friend? Yeah. There it is. Hey, oh, no, let me start. Let me start. Let me start now.
That was quick.
Yeah, no, I get to start now. I get to start. Yeah. Now we're going to put some perspective on this thing. Let's put some perspective on this thing.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I don't know why.
Glass. Oh, Lord. I gave him this day.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, man.
Hey, I've never been this high.
Tony wet.
I would have went.
Tony is
Oh, if I shot like this,
Hey, Tony.
I would have went to the NBA.
Tony's wet right now, man. Tony is wet. No. I know a setup when I see a setup. I'm done. I know a setup. You didn't miss the shot, man. How you don't miss a shot? Okay, what happened? How can the ball be remotely controlled to go in like that? I'm done.